Hello, I'm just going to make this video to talk about the commodities I'm supplying with the SpaceTM agenda and Kmod, which is the facility of the services of universal product that I'm developing with the duality of space on Earth with SpaceTM, and how this is going to manifest itself and how it already has manifested itself in many ways, in many walks of life, for those who actually understand and are able to tap into it. However, there are certain constraints by the existing telecommunication systems, by the existing television media streaming systems, and all that sort of thing that prevent the general public accessing these commodities, this facility of Kmod, through the existing networks as they stand. It is purely a question of, in many cases, just removing the constraints, removing the caps. Once the DNS and other such paraphernalia is supplied to the phone companies and the television communications companies and everything else, once this is supplied and the cap is removed, I will then purvey and supply the IP records to the existing phone companies that remove the caps and that I do business with, and they will be supplied with the universal commodities that Kmod provides. Now, I'll go in some detail about what I'm able to achieve, what I've achieved so far, how far we've got without any negotiations with phone companies, and then I'll go in some detail about what I propose to offer to the existing phone companies primarily, and ultimately explain a few details about media streaming with terrestrial television sets and how that works as well. So firstly, with the telephone communication systems, I have now set up my servers. I have two servers. One is a web server for the Australian Research Association, which is a company that a friend of mine is hosting his website on my server for. And this is the IPv XYZ server, which is the communication system that I'm developing to pass information through the network and create an IP registration system that covers the whole universal reality. What we're intending to do is bring about the IPv XYZ addresses all over the Earth, and they shall map out the universe to the Earth. That's the idea, that's the plan behind the IPv XYZ system. But with the manifestation of the Mozilla server combined DNS with the IPv XYZ, I've had some success using a SIM card that has no data on it, that has no money in it, and getting access to the product of SpaceTM through the IPv XYZ system and the Mozilla server DNS. And I have been able to have, with this SIM card that is a 3 SIM card, using my DNS, they have somehow allowed me to have access to £5 worth of data a week, which doesn't last long. It burns out quick, as I found out 3 times now. And what I'm intending to do is come up with a deal with companies like 3 and other mobile phone companies. I've recently purchased 2 SIM cards of O2, and I've spoken briefly to the person I purchased SIM cards off about the whole process of what I'm intending to sell this commodity at greatly reduced prices to the data that you will be using and accessing from Earth. Also, it is my belief I don't have any. I've only just been able to work on this SIM card with 3, so I don't have much evidence yet. You will have more evidence when you take the caps off as mobile phone companies. But it is my belief that this data is much. There's much more power to it. It's much faster. the streaming speeds are quicker, the upload speed, download speeds, everything else is quicker. Um, if what I perceive to be true is correct, by a few hundred, we're talking 100 times faster than anything that we currently have on Earth. Not only this, but during the process of the creation of these universal commodities over the past 20 years of my life, I've been in contact with people within the universe, if you like, who have developed apps and technology that when this data is used and accessed on the Earth, these apps and these security technology and all the potential of what SpaceTM can offer. If you look at the SpaceTM.uk website, that is a brief description of the sort of things we'll offer. It talks about the lifebook, which is something which I wish to purvey through the system as well. And this will manifest itself, I suppose, in the phone system as a variety of different apps that have been set up within the universe to manifest themselves here on Earth. So the phenomena comes hand in hand with strong security, strong upload download speeds, and also unlimited amounts of data that will come at a much cheaper price than anything mobile phone companies will be paying data companies to provide data for their mobile phone networks. If you look at SpaceTM.uk, you'll see all the security phenomena, the crime and accident premonition prevention, certain things that I'm doing on the IPv6YZ go over and above that. There are more things now that I'm putting into process through the system. But the Lifebook is the main selling point. This is something that will be purveyed through the system and be able to be purchased online, or free licenses will also be granted with adverts and all that sort of thing, as is mostly the case with most of the apps. There's a vast array of commodities and things that you'll be able to trial when you talk to me about this, and I provide you the DNS IP addresses that you will then put into your DNS servers that run your mobile phone network if you choose to do business with us. Once this has been put in place and is in operation, we can then take it forward and come to some kind of agreement where I provide the service for a certain amount of money. The reason I believe tangibly that I have a lot of success with the upload download speeds and the potential of bringing commodities, security commodities and other things to the world from this network of Kmod is that I have intangibly had some dealings with Elon Musk. I believe Starlink are now using our protocols on our network, or at least moving towards coming some agreement with me to using our network as a way of creating the Starlink network, which will provide internet to far-reaching areas which do not have access. This is obviously a premium concern of mine. It's the main priority, and getting it to areas, making sure that everyone has a lot of data accessible wherever they are in the world, whatever their occupation, whatever they do. So because of my sort of involvement with Elon in tangible ways, like I say, he's very hard to get hold of directly. I have had a few sort of cursory meetings, but nothing concrete, if you know what I mean. Just sort of no actual assurance that I'm definitely speaking to him, but I've had a little bit of contact with him, let's put it that way. And he's definitely showing an interest in what I'm doing, and I'm showing an interest in what he's doing. But I think as we move forward with the mobile phone companies, Starlink isn't going to cover the whole Earth. It's not going to cover everything. It may do, say, a quarter in the hard-to-reach areas and that sort of thing. But the rest of the mobile phone networks on this planet are certainly in the Western world, certainly, and certain other parts of the world are certainly within reach of being able to come to some agreement with what I'm offering, and from my remit, without having to access any permissions of Starlink or Elon Musk. anything that is a crossover between us both, that we are sharing facilities or equipment or whatever it may be, we're going to come to some agreements over that. I think, having probably been in competition before, we're going to come up with some kind of agreement, of who can have and do process what for which companies and all that sort of thing. And my DNS, my name server is filling up. I'm compiling it at the moment, with subnets that connect to mobile phone networks and facilities all over the earth. Ultimately, once I provide the information they require to connect to the system, it should be fairly streamlined and fairly quick. I'm also in a position where I'm able to modify program files to configure it correctly, remotely from where I am here, to adjust the system so that the right program is in place. It won't actually take away from the existing program files that you have, but it'll just be an addition to that system to facilitate the process of transition quickly. But that will all happen once we have an agreement, and it's all set in stone as to what I'll be providing, and what, in fact, at a greatly reduced price, what the cost of data will be to the general public and what you'll be paying for that, for the service. So that's a little bit about the mobile phone technologies and systems, what I have achieved already and what I intend to achieve with it. There's also, I talked about the media streaming and the communications enhancement and integration program, which is something I talk about on the page SIPE on spacetm.uk. If you go down the list there, you'll be able to see SIPE and click on that. SIPE is something that I have been working on for a very long time, and most of this is systemic now in many ways, because it's gone through television media streaming channels, and I haven't actually been able to patent it or make it my own, because of the fact that it's very difficult to license through sort of wireless aerial systems. Aerials have been unplugged and that sort of thing, so that although it improves the quality of the service and if people know about it, that sort of thing, it's very difficult to start administering licenses and saying people can and can't use the system and all that sort of thing. So although I programmed for the people I choose to have access to that, and I want to have access to that, there's not much I can do. That I can just say that facility is status quo in the mobile phone networks and systems, and the streaming services that use my data and my services from Kmod and SpaceTM. So thanks for listening. That's about it for now. But that's just an outline of what I'm offering. Please drop me a line or talk to me. We'll discuss these options. I'm hoping to make contact with some of you as soon as possible. Yeah, please stay tuned, and I'll talk to you as soon as possible if you're interested, or if I can get a hold of you and talk to you about what I'm offering on a more personal basis. Thank you very much.